everyone, I'm April Ho, clinical dietitian with the Center for Community Health and Prevention, and today I'm really excited to share with you a recipe for delicata squash, which is my favorite kind of squash because you can eat the skin. So it's very easy to prepare. You don't have to roast it and then peel it or do any of that crazy kind of stuff, and it's really, really delicious. And the recipe that I'm going to be sharing is what I call Simon and Garfunkel Squash because we're going to use parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. And so what I've already done is chop up a little bit of it, and so we're going to end up with these half moon shapes. It looks like this. This is actually kind of a small one that I got from the public market, so they can be a fair bit bigger. But I cut off the ends, cut it down the middle, and then just like any squash, you would want to scoop out the seeds. And again, just like any squash, you can roast them and put salt on them, and they're really, really delicious. So I'm going to scrape these into a bowl so I can save them for later because roasted pumpkin and squash seeds are one of my favorite snacks. So after I do that, I'm going to use, of course, good knife skills, bear claw, rocking motion to get some more half moons. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to use parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. And what I love about those ingredients is that you can use any combination of them in any quantities on a squash and it's going to taste fantastic. So if you want to just use rosemary and thyme, that's going to be great. Just use sage and thyme, that's going to be great. I like to use a little bit all four. My favorites are rosemary and thyme, so I usually do about twice as much of those as I do the other ones. But now that my half moons are all on the baking sheet, I'm going to drizzle it with some oil, and this is grapeseed oil. You can use any oil that's a neutral flavor and that has a high smoke point, and I like grapeseed for that. So then I'm going to add some rosemary, and as I mentioned, I'm pretty generous with this. Parsley, thyme, and then I actually didn't have any dried sage, so I plucked some out from a pot on my porch. So we're going to be using fresh sage, and you can use fresh versions of any of these herbs. But I find that the dried rosemary holds up best in the oven at the high heat. So I'm going to toss these all together and then throw it in the oven at 425 for 25 minutes, anywhere from 25 to 30, and then they'll be ready to eat. Have fun, enjoy.